Great morning, great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I am just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for life. I tell you all the time, I don't take days for granted. I don't take you for granted. I am happy and grateful that you are willing to come and meet me every week and be accountability to me, as we know that life is life and it does not stop. Okay. I'm happy and grateful that we understand that every day is a gift, okay? Every day that we have is an opportunity for us to right our wrong so that we could be the best version of us unapologetically. I'm here to remind you that you are healthy, you are wealthy, and you are prosperous. Everything your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow great things because you are great. We don't have to keep the pressure on ourselves to be perfect. We're striving for perfection. But as long as we wake up and we are intentional to pursue purpose, we are doing what we're supposed to do in this journey called life, where our footsteps are already predestined, they're preordained. Nothing happens by chance or surprise to Jehovah God, just to us. So because we know that, we can affirm ourselves every day that we are healthy, we are wealthy, we are prosperous, we're the head and not the tail, we're above and never beneath. All right. So listen, Meal Prep Monday, we come on here, mindset, education, accountability, and lifestyle. And we've been talking over the last 6 weeks probably now, just about really prioritizing and putting our relationships. We're dealing, if y'all haven't caught it, we're dealing with relational intelligence. Okay. We have, the whole pie or circle graph, pie graph, where, you got your emotional intelligence, you have your IQ, all these other things, neuroscience. But what we're really focusing on is relational intelligence. Okay. So at this point, we understand the difference between, or we're learning to categorize and put our relationships, whether or not it's friend, whether or not it's assignment, advisor, associate. Okay. It is so imperative that we have our relationships in the right buckets, because this is what we need in order for us to go through this journey purposeful and full, and still being able to receive as much as we pour out. Okay. So we've talked about all this. We've defined it. We've done everything that we've done up to this point. If you've missed anything, go to the YouTube. I am Nicole D. Jones. Okay. Type it out, spell it out. I think you can either put it together, type it as a sentence. Either way, you'll see this little blazing face pop up. Listen, subscribe, like, and share. All right. That's my plug. But today I want to talk about us being an advocate for ourselves. All right. So now, I like to define words. Okay. And an advocate really is someone who speaks on someone else's behalf. Y'all know what it is, but I'm going to read it anyway, because I like to define words. So it's a person who pleads on someone else's behalf. All right. We've got to learn to be a self-advocate. We have to learn to advocate for ourselves first. And this is the thing. In learning to do this, it is not that you're selfish. You have to learn to become a good steward over your soul. I say it all the time. We're supernatural in this natural space. We're spirit with a soul wrapped in this flesh. Okay. So when you are being the best version of you unapologetically, I've said it and I continue to say it. Self-control is the best control and the only control that we can really have, and we don't have it. We cannot control other people. We can't control other people's emotions, no matter how much we want to think that we can. So you've got to shift your perspective and understand that when you are a self-advocate, you're not being selfish. You're not arrogant. We are being the best version of us through submission and humility, never arrogance and pride. You have to learn how to pivot and shift your perspective. Okay. So listen, to be this, stewardship is properly managing resources. Okay. You got to learn to manage your energy. You got to learn to manage your time. You got to learn to manage your environment. Who has access to you and why? This is a question that you have to be able to answer. Even if you don't know it in the totality, you got to know why people are around you. You got to know why you're dealing with people. You got to know why you're allowing someone to give energy, suck energy, whatever you're doing with your energy. You got to know for yourself. All right. Because if you don't know for you, listen, I ask Jaden and my grandbabies all the time. I'll ask them a question and they'll say, I don't know. And I'll say to them, if you don't know, who knows? If you don't know about you, who knows? And you can't expect for someone else. You don't want someone else to answer that for you. Okay. So listen, you got to learn to properly manage your resources. All right. You got to learn how to manage your gifts. You have to be able to do this. You never want to put yourself, your soul, your only one on Judgment Day in someone else's hands. Okay. So think about who you're around. Your human resources or the environment, the people you're around, you do know that they help dictate, they help you dictate, mold, and walk out your stewardship. All right, we're talking about the soul, because we're spirit with a soul wrapped in this flesh. Depending on what we allow to feed that soul more is what grows. All right. So you have to be a good steward of these things. All right. You also want to do it because this is the thing. If we believe that this journey is predestined and preordained, then there's already purpose. I told you, you were born when you were actually physically brought here. You got to remember that you were already chosen. Your purpose was already chosen. All right. Then before the foundation of the earth. Okay. Then when Jesus died on the cross, he activated your purpose. And now at such a time as this, you're walking out purpose. All right. You see, mindset, pivots, perception, how you perceive this journey in yourself dictates and determines the level of fulfillment that you receive. So relationships around you, they actually help cultivate and mold your purpose. That's kind of deep. That wasn't in my notes. But listen, you got to know who's around you, because that's really what helps in your decision making, in your purpose, and it begins to dictate this journey. Okay. Wow. Oh Lord. Listen, I'm stuck right there. This is not on my notes, but check this read. You got to know this because every human has an opinion. This is why it's so important to have your relationships in the right place, because every person has an opinion, okay? But every opinion is not what fits or is for your purpose. All right, let me go back here. Let me see. You'll be responsible for how you steward yourself and the relationships that you're in. Nobody's responsible for that or will be held accountable for that at the end of this journey but you. So this is why, this is why you have to learn to be an advocate for yourself. You have to learn yourself. You have to learn where you're at. You have to learn and guard your soul. You've got to know your levels of vulnerability. You have to know, even relationships are so impactful. That's why they can shift our thoughts. It can shift what we decide. You could wake up and say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and you plan your day. And then you can have your homegirl, what you doing? I'm about to come over. And you will shift your whole day. Okay? That's how powerful relationships are, as they should be. All right? This is why you have to be a good steward of your surrounding, because you got to know which relationships to pivot for and which you shouldn't. All right. Because if my homegirl coming and we're building and we're growing in the day, great. Maybe that's that push that I need because I'm being lazy or I'm procrastinating. But if they're taking me against or away from whatever I had predestined or believed was predestined and I was walking out the right way, so wasting my time, energy, thought, gift, and everything else. Okay. I hope that makes sense. So listen, let me see. You got to know that the reason that you have to advocate for yourself is you have to know, like, so we're relational and there will be some relationships because, you know, there we talked about 4 buckets. Okay. So if you are dealing with an assignment, you have to understand that what comes with that assignment is you're a burden carrier. Okay. So when you know that you're dealing with the right thing, you're graced for it, your time is already allotted for it because it comes from above. Okay. We waste time. I say it all the time. I will not take another time management class through the Center for Disease Control because I now understand I can't manage time. It's 24 hours in a day. But what I can manage is myself and what I do with the time that I'm given. All right. So if we believe that our days are predestined and preordained, then there's already time allotted and grace allotted for those things that are predestined and pre-planned in our day. The reason we have to know that we are giving our time and our energy and our gifts and ourselves to the right places at the right time, because there is time allotted for you to be a burden carrier for the assignments that are predestined in your life. When you start carrying burdens that don't belong to you, this is where you're fatigued, This is where you begin to be frustrated, irritated, burnt out, because there's no grace and time allotted for what you've picked up. This is why we got to know that we know that we know if we believe that this journey is predestined, all right? So you got to be a self-advocate. Being a self-advocate, it frees you from the illusions of the best versions of you that are connected to someone else's behavior. Now, y'all telling me y'all living your best life, right? But you do realize that some of your best life is an illusion. It's stuff that you've created. Okay? Me too. It's an illusion. All right? These illusions come when we begin to attach and connect to things that are not really bringing out the best version of you. Okay. We all do it, be it if it's from trauma, be it if it's from decisions, whatever. But this is the thing. When these things start coming to light for you, you've got to learn how to advocate for yourself. You've got to be able to look at the relationships around you and be able to speak up for you on your behalf. Okay. We can sit up and jump in someone else's cat fight, but we won't fight for our soul. Listen. Oh, Lord. All right. Time. Time is the exchange and currency for desired results. Okay. It's in order for you to receive results that you want. Now let's think about it. You got to understand that what's associated to it is time. So if you want to have something that's great, you've got to be willing to allot time to it. So you think about if you're working on a project and you wait till the last minute and you just throw it together. All right. It may look good if we're putting a house together and I waited. I had a month to do it, but I wait until the night before the project is due. I may put it together and it may look good, But how good is the foundation of it? Have I even allowed the time for the glue to dry? All right. You got to start looking at your vision and your purpose the same way. If your purpose and your vision is great and it's grand and it's big, you got to understand that what's associated with that is time. All right. It's like a currency exchange. Okay. So how much time are you investing into it? If you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business, how much time in your day are you putting into the foundation and the planning of it before it manifests? Or do you give yourself an end date? And then what happens is, when you're getting closer to the date, now you're rushing because you're trying to catch up time. All right. Nicole, what does this have to do with being a self-advocate? Everything. It has everything to do with it, because you got to understand that in this journey, we're not created to do life alone. So we're created to be relational. You've got to understand how imperative it is for you to put these relationships and ones who have access to you in the right categories so that you're able to speak on your own behalf to fulfill your journey. Okay, that's why. All right. So I'm just giving you things to understand why you have to do it. Time is the exchange rate. All right, for your desire. It's the exchange rate for your purpose. It's the exchange rate for your goal. Okay, it's the exchange rate. And it will show in your results. It will show. When you think of someone who think of Tyler Perry. Okay? His life story. He had a vision. And no matter what happened, he still put time into it. It was not dictated and based on someone else. And he became an advocate for himself. People thought he was crazy. But look at him now. Braham. Okay? All this he done bought in Georgia. And then he just bought BET VH1. Listen. Time is the exchange rate for your desired result, okay? But you have to learn to strategically invest time where you will gain the greatest return. All right? Y'all know I can't get my mind off money. All right? I don't idolize money, but I understand financial wealth and prosperity. So it's just like this whole exchange rate. But listen, all right? We do crypto and all that, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. But listen, you got to strategically invest your time. Okay? You have to strategically invest your time. Are you doing your brain dumps at night? Are you taking additional time to write things out in the morning? What are you doing with your time through the day? Are you spending all your time scrolling just to be nosy? Or are you scrolling reels to learn how to perfect your own? What are you doing with your time? How are you investing it? And everything you invest in, it's got to be at the capacity of the greatest return you'll receive, okay? Your time and what you do with it determines whether or not you'll reach your goals, all right? This all goes back to needing self-management. Stop trying to manage time that is set, all right? There's 24 hours in a day, all right? 60 minutes in that hour. Yeah, 60 seconds in a minute, okay? There is nothing you can do to change that. You cannot manage time. It's going to happen. I'm on Central Time today. I cannot. I had to remember to come on at 9 o'clock, because if I'd have came on at 10 o'clock, it'd have been 11 o'clock for where I live, all right? Time didn't change because I went an hour behind. I have to do self-management. I had to get up and prepare and start my day an hour earlier to stay on time of what's already fixated, okay? That's what I mean by that, all right? So you got to know the difference of your people that you have in your life that influence you, all right? Ones who influence you, where you influence, you got to make sure that they're not, you got to know the difference between influence and control and manipulation. Let's just go there, okay? If you have someone in your life that's influential, but they use their influence to control and manipulate you, you better learn how to be an advocate for yourself. And vice versa. If you know that you're in someone's life that you influence, okay, and you may see weaknesses in them, you better cover them things. You better not go and try to control and manipulate, because it will come back, all right? You will be held responsible for that, okay? So you got to learn how to advocate for yourself, because that's what helps keep it balanced. Because you may have an influencer in your life and they got a little control problem. Listen, if I'm in anyone's life and I influence them, I know I'm a little controlling, all right? Ming Lee is real. She want to control some stuff, but I am working on that, okay? I am learning how to give you what you need and let you do you, all right? Now, the control part of me, I'll be wanting to be like, don't do that. Do this. What are you doing? Because I see things that maybe you don't see. But if you ever feel like I am using that to try to manipulate you or pervert whatever's going on, check me. I'm telling you out loud, because that's never my heart. That's never my intention. And that should never be what someone is doing to you that has influence in your life. And you should not do it. See, advocacy is for you. You've got to learn how to see these things and not be so caught up in who it is or what it is that you can't distinguish between it, okay? This is it. Let's see, it's 10:25. Okay. Influence is important, but don't use it to control and manipulate. Because really the only person we need to be trying to control is ourselves. And you know that we don't have that. Nobody has full control of themselves. Sin is real in everyone's life, okay? So here, I want you to think about it like this. When you choose to give control of yourself to someone, you're regifting, okay? The danger in that is you're regifting your gifts. Each one of us have gifts. Each one of us were given gifts. When you give yourself and allow someone to control you, all right? I'm not talking about submission. I'm talking about you give total control of yourself to someone and you wait for them to dictate your journey. You've just regifted your gift. Shame on you. Shame on me. All right? There's a difference in giving yourself and allowing someone to control you, you becoming a puppet or a muppet or whatever them things is called to someone else. That's not submission, okay? And this is why you've got to learn how to see relationships for what they are. When your soul, like I told you, the soul is the compass, okay? When you start feeling something on the inside that don't feel right, you've got to love yourself enough to take the time to evaluate where that feeling is coming from and learn how to advocate for yourself. It does not have to be disrespectful. When you have an assurance that you are protecting and guarding you and your soul, you can articulate and speak these things out and have enough control and willpower to stay away from what's going to harm you. Do not regift your gifts, because that makes you an unfit steward, okay, of what belongs to you. So, self-advocacy, all right? We got to learn to preserve our time and our energy. We got to learn to be a good steward over it, okay? Everything can't make you mad. Everything can't suck the life out of you. Because I promise you, there's going to be a real trial that comes that's going to just try to knock you off your feet. And if you've put too much wind out in the wrong place, you're going to fall, all right? Now, how do you become a good advocate of yourself? You got to learn to communicate. Communication is key to all relationships, all right? And there are different ways to communicate. We're not going to get into all of that, all right? We're not going to get into all that, right? But you have to learn to communicate. And the first thing I want you to learn how to communicate over as you're learning to be a self-advocate is your time. You got to learn how to be a good self-advocate of your time. All right. You can't let people pull on you when you know that there's a fixed amount of time. All right. You got to learn to manage your time. Manage yourself in the time you're given in your day. And you've got to learn to be an advocate for yourself and communicate verbally. No is a complete sentence, and you cannot feel bad about it. You are one person. You will wear yourself out, and then you'll be looking at other people like it's their fault. And then the thing that was predestined and purposed in your life is the one that you dropped the ball on. Because there's still a prince of the air that's trying to kill, steal, and destroy, okay? So you got to know how to draw the line in the sand. And you got to understand that some communication is even nonverbal, all right? You may see something. You may see that it's not healthy for you. And you don't have to go and blurt out like you think you my friend, but you ain't a friend. You an assignment. I don't have time to be doing this with you. And we ain't trying, listen, damage control in your communication. We're not trying to break and destroy people, but you have to become aware so that you could be a self-advocate for yourself, know how to draw the line in the sand. And when the envelope is pushed too much, you know how to put it in the right space, okay? Respectfully, humbly. It don't take all this aggression, all right? Ooh, Lord, that stress you out. It make your energy all whack. What time is it? 10:25, all right? So, and just remember, if your days are predestined, you got to be a good advocate because you only have grace and time in those areas that are pre-purposed, predestined, okay? You don't want to keep giving it away. You want to walk out, be the best version of you, and have a fulfilled life, pouring out and receiving, okay? It goes both ways, all right? So you have to set boundaries to live your best life. You have to set them. You can't get around them because there's always someone that'll have an expectation. They'll have a question. They'll look for you to help, be a companion, whatever it is. That's why you got to be able to put these things in the right perspective, all right? Let me see. This is another thing. Categorizing people is for you to organize your time. It's not for them because there is a spirit of friendship. All right. So no matter who you're dealing with, even if they're not a friend, you operate in a spirit of friendship. Okay. So you're always operating a certain way, but you have to realize that you should have a spirit of friendship with everyone, no matter where they fall. All right. That's why you do unto others as you want them to do unto you. All right. You treat people the way you want to be treated. I hope that you want to be treated friendly. I hope that you want the substance of friendship, but that's the spirit you walk in. But that does not mean everyone is your friend. But that is something in your character that you should be walking in. You should show yourself friendly so that you're able to receive friendship. Okay. So, let me see. Communication is important. You have to know that communication is verbal and nonverbal. And you always communicate the truth, but you have to discern it. All right. You always communicate facts, but you have to know how you say it. It's never what you say, it's how you choose to say it. Communication is key in all things. All right. And then in this, and I'm going to end with this, you got to know, depending on your level of relationship, that should determine your level of transparency, okay? Your level of relationship should always determine your level of transparency, all right? So it is 10:30. I never want to belabor the time. I want you to remember to stay humble, stay focused, stay positive. Go back and listen to this. I'll have it up within the next 15 minutes, all right? Continue to be the best version of you unapologetically, because only you can do it. And you are relevant, necessary, and needed. Okay. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I want you to continue to have a fantabulous rest of the day. Smooches.